Hello and welcome to Rising Sun Overlanders. Behind me we've got a 100 series project that we've been working on for a couple of days now. It's a 4.7 petrol TUZ and it came in for some rust repairs. And at the same time, the owner decided to do a chassis refurbishment. We've started with shot blasting the chassis, which then allowed us to see which areas had pitting. That was quite aggressive, same as the lower control arms. We've not finished yet, but it's getting there. We've started masking the areas that do not need painting. We do offer two options. One of them includes a body-on chassis refresh or a full-on body restoration and chassis restoration, which implicates splitting the vehicle into two. This one is not too bad, and the owner opted for doing the body-on option. We've got some heavy corrosion starting at the front inner wings, which is more common on the petrols instead of the diesels. Going to the sill section, it has been primed with some anti-corrosive rust converter. We do have an area here where the body mount will need a repair. The chassis itself does look in pretty good condition. Going down to the sill side, it does require some repairs, and the inner side of the chassis is not too bad as I mentioned previously. All of this has been shot blasted, as you can see, and it's getting currently treated with rust converter before we apply the epoxy primer. The rear axle does show some corrosion at the back, which is not ideal, but we can fix it. Same on both sides, sadly. It is a rather common problem on these 100 series. Going back to the shocks, the car still runs the factory active high control, which at the moment still works as it should. The only issue is the actual shocks, the covers on the top and slightly on the bottom have some aggressive corrosion, which we'll need to look into. We do have some random holes here and there that will be fixed, such as the common one found behind the tow bar brackets and the rear section of the chassis. This spring mount is one of the other issues that we've seen upon further inspection. Same with the panhard bracket at the back. We will remove the spring and rebuild this section. Both sills at the end leading towards the rear arch are not in great condition. Same with this, we have plenty of corrosion showing through. Same on this side, plenty of corrosion showing through. The boot floor has had a previous repair over here, which we will probably leave be for the time being. This one on the other hand, we'll have to chop, and weld fresh metal to it. At the back, the outer wing doesn't look too bad, it's just these two corners that will need taken care of. And we also do have a bit of corrosion on the tailgate and next to the lock, which we will also sort out for the owner. A common failing point on these Land Cruisers is this whole area here, and as you can see, someone attempted at doing a previous repair. It does seem somewhat structurally fine. We will inspect it further before we make a decision. The next thing that follows is finishing the prep work, which means the body will get covered. Then we will sort out the areas that still need treating before we hit it with primer, and a few areas that are left to mask around the engine bay before we start spraying. So what you'll be seeing next is the underbody in primer. The chassis gets quite a nice finish from it, but also it helps us see any sort of areas that we've missed. This one is one that will need repairing for a definite. It helps us find stabby places, same as this one, that we can then clean off and treat. But apart from that, it's coming out quite nicely. As you can see, this is the boot floor. And we have a few more areas that need removing in that section that the sandblaster didn't get to. So all of these will now get manually removed. And now we can clearly see what we need to work on. So that needs welding, that definitely needs welding, this needs welding as well. Coming on the other side, as mentioned, that needs quite a bit of welding. And same with this. So we're gonna remove all of the existing rust from the inside, clean that, weld new sections all the way across. Here we are about a day later. We've let this dry for about 24 hours, and now, as you can see, it's got this rubberized feeling. It's really tough, and this is 2K epoxy, so it's resin based, and it does use a hardener. So when you paint it, it normally cures over 24 hours slowly to give this very tough finish. We've uncovered everything that we shouldn't have painted here, so all the boots are now nice and rubbery, so they've now been painted. We painted the crush bar, all the radiator supports, the front subframe as well, including the lower control arm, the track rod ends, and the upper control arms as well. Coming back here, we've also laid a bit of paint on the belly of the gearbox and the oil pan of the engine as well, just to refresh them slightly. And if you take a better look, you can see the finish on the floor panel. The boot floor is not as good just because we have to chop away quite a bit, but all of these pipes came out amazing. They've been shot blasted, the active high control pipes. We were a bit afraid at first that they might burst, but they're still solid for the time being. And now, since they're covered in epoxy, they should last a good chunk of years. We do have some corrosion here that we've mentioned earlier in the video. Will be cut on both sides due to it being weakened. Same with the shocks, we'll cut the covers and then re-weld some fresh pieces on. We have marked all of the areas that need cutting. Probably the worst two areas of the chassis. We do have quite a lot of areas that have corroded in here, and then especially here. This is a very common spot on the 100 series platform that normally fails. So what we'll do, we'll replace all of this, replace that, make sure there's no more holes in there. As you can see, there is a tiny hole, so we might end up just cutting all of that. And what we normally recommend 100 series owners is welding this back on and then leaving one access spot in there, just because this issue is caused by water drainage issues. So this is slightly slanted, and in the early days of the car, you know, you don't really have issues, but 20 odd years later, this normally gets covered with rust from the inside to the outside. So as you can see, at the moment, there is still a bit of corrosion in there that will try and get away once we cut this whole section out. Can easily put cavity wax inside of all the holes existing in the chassis. We do have two spots here as well, which are pretty bad. So as you can see, that's the spring mount, which should not look like that. There is a bit of corrosion on the other side, on the driver's side, which we'll also look into. But apart from that, the boot floor does need cutting there. So it's not the worst one, but definitely not the best one. And as you can see, that side and this side, which has been previously repaired, but we'll just have to do it once again and do it to a higher standard. Sides of the vehicle, once it's been shot blasted, you can see all of the areas that need welding. Same at the back here. And sadly, we come on the opposite side, it looks exactly the same. We'll have to remove the fuel neck coming to the fuel tank, so that will need doing as well. Now this front side of the car, these corners here are also a very common rust spot on a 100 series platform, including the inners, which will have to remove the bracket, cut that and weld a new piece in. This is the body mount that has issues. It's probably the only body mount of the vehicle that does have that sort of issue that we'll have to sort out. So we've also cleaned up the fuel tank and painted it in the same 2K epoxy chassis coat. It is resin based. We went over with a roller and then we went over with a gun, just so we can get a very good thick finish on these, because you can't really clean them that well. So this is the fuel tank cover that we are offering as a replacement to the customer, as this is the old unit that was inside the car, and as you can see, it's just dead metal, full of corrosion. It just flakes off
half of it is basically missing.
One other thing that we had to replace on this 100 series was the fuel tank straps. We do have some in stock used ones, but in good condition that we had shot blasted and then painted, so these should last another 10-15 years.